Sir, my concern is not whether God is on our side, my greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. How many legs does a dog have if you call his tail a leg? 4. Saying that a tail is a leg doesn't make it a leg. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. All that I am, or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. When I do good I feel good, when I do bad I feel bad, and that's my religion. I will prepare and someday my chance will come. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices have very few virtues. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts. I have always found that mercy bears richer fruits than strict justice. The best way to get a bad law repealed is to enforce it strictly. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? This country, with its institutions, belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whenever they shall grow weary of the existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it, or exercise their revolutionary right to overthrow it. He has a right to criticize, who has a heart to help. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. Avoid popularity if you would have peace. A friend is one who has the same enemies as you have. That some achieve great success, is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. No man is good enough to govern another man without the other's consent. Let's have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. If we could first know where we are, and whither we are tending, we could then better judge what to do, and how to do it. Labor is prior to, and independent of, capital. Capital is only the fruit of labor, and could never have existed if labor had not first existed. Labor is the superior of capital, and deserves much the higher consideration. At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of freemen, we must live through all time, or die by suicide. Every man is said to have his peculiar ambition. Whether it be true or not, I can say, for one, that I have no other so great as that of being truly esteemed of my fellow men, by rendering myself worthy of their esteem. How far I shall succeed in gratifying this ambition is yet to be developed. A house divided against itself cannot stand. The things I want to know are in books. My best friend is the man who'll get me a book I ain't read. All the armies of Europe, Asia and Africa combined, with all the treasure of the earth, our own excepted, in their military chest, with a Bonaparte for a commander, could not by force, take a drink from the Ohio, or make a track on the Blue Ridge. In a trial of 1,000 years. No matter how much cats fight, there always seem to be plenty of kittens. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it, the tree is the real thing. The ballot is stronger than the bullet. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other. I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. The probability that we may fail in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition. If this is coffee, please bring me some tea, but if this is tea, please bring me some coffee. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under the rule of a just God, cannot long retain it. My dream is of a place and a time where America will once again be seen as the last best hope of earth. Marriage is neither heaven nor hell, it is simply purgatory. I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him. Discourage litigation. Persuade your neighbors to compromise whenever you can. As a peacemaker, the lawyer has superior opportunity of being a good man. There will still be business enough. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. The shepherd drives the wolf from the sheep's throat, for which the sheep thanks the shepherd as his liberator, while the wolf denounces him for the same act as the destroyer of liberty. Plainly, the sheep and the wolf are not agreed upon a definition of liberty. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. Important principles may, and must, be inflexible. I remember my mother's prayers and they have always followed me. They have clung to me all my life. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. Stand with anybody that stands right, stand with him while he is right and part with him when he goes wrong. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. Public sentiment is everything. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. When I am getting ready to reason with a man, I spend 1/3 of my time thinking about myself and what I am going to say and 2/3 about him and what he is going to say. If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. Let not him who is houseless pull down the house of another, but let him work diligently and build one for himself, thus by example assuring that his own shall be safe from violence when built. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. When you have got an elephant by the hind legs and he is trying to run away, it's best to let him run. If you think you can slander a woman into loving you, or a man into voting for you, try it till you are satisfied. I care not much for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. I know that the Lord is always on the side of the right, but it is my constant anxiety and prayer that I and this nation may be on the Lord's side. True patriotism is better than the wrong kind of piety. I am humble Abraham Lincoln. I have been solicited by my friends to become a candidate for the legislature. My politics are short and sweet, like the old woman's dance. We think the Dred Scott decision is erroneous. We know the court that made it has often overruled its own decisions, and we shall do what we can to have it overrule this.